Hello everyone, welcome to Options with Doug, streaming live daily on Bookmap Discord and the Bookmap YouTube channel at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Before I get started, I need to go through the disclosures. General disclosure. All Bookmap limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure. Trading futures, equities, and options involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Here's my contact information. The best way to get in touch with me is through Discord. My name on Discord is Doug P. Also in Bookmap Discord, there's an Options-Doug chat channel. That's a great place to post questions, comments, and content related to the topics of my presentation and the topics of the channel that I'll go through in just a moment. I'm also on X, formerly known as Twitter. My name there is @Pless. Here are the key tenets to my approach for trading. This is the basis of my approach to trading. I believe that options trades and market maker hedging activity are key drivers of price in many stocks and futures, and certainly the large cap tech stocks that I follow, as well as the equity futures, the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. And for the S&P 500, SPX is the underlying index, SPY is the ETF version of that index, and ES is a derivative of SPX. So when traders buy and sell puts and calls in SPX and SPY, market makers take the opposite side of those trades and they hedge their delta exposure with ES futures. And for the NASDAQ 100, NDX is the underlying index, QQQ is the ETF version of that index, and NQ is a derivative of NDX. And when traders buy and sell puts and calls in NDX and QQQ, market makers take the opposite side of those trades and they will hedge their delta exposure with NQ futures. The focus of my presentation today and the focus of the Options-Doug chat channel is options order flow, the impact of options markets on stocks and futures, and the influence of market maker hedging flow on price action. I have a two-step process for trading, and the first is planning, and I use positional analysis. I look at how traders and market makers are positioned in the options market and how those positions change from day to day to develop a thesis regarding them. Sorry about that. That's a hero flow alert. So the first step in my process is planning, and the second step in my process is execution. I look at real-time order flow in Bookmap and real-time market maker hedging flow in Spotgamma Hero to confirm my thesis, and for setups for entries and exits. And when I talk about setups today, I will be focusing on an underlying asset, and setups in that asset can be taken any number of ways. For example, the S&P 500 setups can be taken with ES futures, SPY shares, SPX options, SPY options, or even ES options. Questions and comments are welcome, and I will be watching both the Options-Doug chat channel and Discord, as well as the chat and YouTube for your questions and comments. Please feel free to post, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. All right, here's my agenda for today, Thursday, March 7th. First of all, I want to go over news items, economic data, and events for today as well as the rest of the week. Then I'll go through my positional analysis. Then I'll review some setups from earlier today. Then I'll take a look at the live market. And when I get to the live market, if anyone has any stocks they want me to take a look at, please let me know and I'll be glad to do that. Hello, Stephen. Welcome. Glad you're here. All right, so first of all, news items. Today, Jerome Powell, this is his second day of testimony that began at 10 a.m. before Congress. Yesterday, I believe his testimony was before the House, and today before the Senate. All right, then tomorrow, the big data release for the week, the jobs report comes out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. That was pushed back to the second Friday of the month, this month. So the jobs report will be tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Could be a market mover. All right, let's move on to positional analysis now. And what I'm going to do, let me turn off these alerts for right now. Well, that may be, we'll leave them on if it gets too bad. I've set it so that it should just give alerts for the instruments on my watch list. Sometimes it is giving alerts for all the instruments. All right, let's start with the S&P 500. This is the ES futures and Bookmap. Before I take a closer look at this chart, I want to take a look at a larger time frame. I'm going to go to the underlying index. That is SPX. Oops, wrong chart. We'll get to that chart in just a minute. I'm going to start with a one-day chart for SPX. So the current rally, I'll need to adjust that trend line. Current rally began last year, October 30th. And so far, SPX has rallied up over 1,000 points. And note for this year, SPX has, the call wall has moved up from 4,800 to the current level at 5,200. All right, let's go now take a look at the upper end of this trend. This is a 30-day, 1-hour chart, again sticking with SPX. Again, the upper end of this trend line, as I mentioned before, call walls have moved up from 4,800 to now at 5,200. I'll talk more about that in just a minute. So pullbacks have just been bought, dips have been bought, and now SPX is trading above the 5150 level that has been resistance before. 5150 resistance, and now SPX is trading above that level. All right, let's take a look at all the levels on this chart. So first of all, the dashed purple lines, and you can't see the lower dashed purple line. That is the lower weekly expected move. The lower daily expected move is right on top of that. So the dashed purple lines are showing the lower and upper weekly expected move. That's based on the options market, and that is updated once a week. That's based on the closing price of SPX last Friday. All right, the dashed blue lines are showing the lower and upper daily expected move. That's also based on the options market, based on the closing price for SPX yesterday. Note that SPX is trading above the upper daily expected move for today. All right, let's take a look at the other lines on this chart. These are Spotgamma levels. These are provided to Spotgamma subscribers. They're based on gamma weighted open interest. I'm going to point out the key daily levels. First of all, here's the put wall. That's a strike with the largest net negative gamma that can be expected to act as support. The next level up is 5,000. That's the absolute gamma strike. That's a strike with the largest absolute positive and negative gamma. So that's where most of the gamma weighted open interest is concentrated. Then above that, that's the volatility trigger at 5,095. That is Spotgamma's proprietary volatility flip level. Below that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is negative. In a negative gamma environment, market makers have to trade with price to hedge their delta exposure, and that tends to subdue or decrease volatility. And above that level, like SPX is trading now, market makers' position on the gamma curve is positive. In a positive gamma environment, market makers have to trade against price to hedge their delta exposure. And then finally, the call wall that I mentioned before is at 5,200. That's a strike with the largest net positive gamma that can be expected to act as resistance. And that is looks like the next level up above the potential target. So potential ceiling for price and target right now at 5,200 and the floor at 4,800. The only level that shifted for SPX was the put wall that shifted back down to 4,800 from 5,040 yesterday. All right, let me check for questions. Kanav, hope I'm not pronouncing that too badly, asked, can you please explain how to trade the POC? Sorry, that's not something I do. So thank you, Stephen, for answering that. Tom B is the source. He trades volume profile, point of control. I do not. I focus on options. And Floyd's Garage, welcome. Glad you're here. Asks 5,200 is the upper expected move, and the upper weekly expected move is very close at 5,198. All right, so thanks again, Stephen, for answering that question about point of control. So that's not how I look at the market. All right, let's wrap this up with a 1 minute chart. So now let's take sticking with SPX, go to a 1 minute chart. Need to zoom out just a little bit. The dark shaded portion is the trading for today, regular trading hours. Let me adjust my trend line. This is that trend line that began October 30th. SPX making a new high today. SPX trading above the volatility trigger 5,100 level, which has been Spotgamma's line in the sand, risk off, risk on. So SPX trading above that level now, also above the upper daily expected move, and then above the 5,150 level that has acted as resistance before. All right, let's go to Bookmap. So in Bookmap, I have my own cloud notes. So I can show SPX levels. There's that 5150, 5152 level that I just talked about. So the volatility trigger at 5,095 is well below. I also have SPY levels on this chart. These are yellow numbers, are just round number levels for SPY. Before the cash open, 512 acted as support. After the cash open, 513 as support.
Stop ESH for CME by 391.
So stop driven rally. That was a notification for ES. Stop orders, buy stop orders. All right, so I have SPY levels, and note now SPY is trading, the S&P 500 is trading above the SPY call wall. All right, so very bullish day in the S&P 500. And the next level up is SPY 516. Then above that, the SPX 5176, that's a combo 4 level. Upper weekly expected move above that. And ES is trading above its upper weekly expected move. We'll talk more about setups in a few minutes. All right, shifts and levels I mentioned for SPX. The put wall shifted lower, and for SPY, the volatility trigger shifted higher to 511. That's shown right here. That was actually in play very early today, around 8 a.m. before the cash open. Hello, Caesar. Welcome. Glad you're here. And note this rally began. I'm going to zoom all the way out. Rally began overnight. Looks like around the European Open. Somewhere around 3 a.m. European Open. All right, so this is just a continuation of the rally that began again overnight. We'll talk about setups again in a few minutes. All right, let's take a look at NASDAQ. Very similar. Rally began overnight. Before I take a closer look at this chart, so this is the NQ futures in Bookmap. And before I take
Stop ESH for CME by 1583.
more buy stop orders. All right, let's take a look at the underlying index charts. First, QQQ. Need to zoom out just a bit. I need to add more lines. All right, so the dark shaded portion is the regular trading hours. 441 acting as support just after the open. Note that QQQ is trading above its call wall at 444. And that level did shift higher from yesterday. So for QQQ, the put wall shifted lower, call wall shifted higher. I interpret that as bullish. And then for NDX, let's take a look at that chart. Take a look at NDX. Very mechanical uptrend. And NDX trading above this 18,234. That's a combo 4 level. All right, triathlon trader, sorry about that. Let's go back to SPX. We'll turn that off. I don't want to cause anyone hearing problems. All right, so let's zoom in just a little bit. So really not much to see here. Let's go back to ES. Let's turn off alerts. All right, so that should stop that. All right, so NASDAQ, we looked at QQQ 441 support. Great entry point for long. And NASDAQ continues to grind higher. So right now, QQQ is above its call wall. And SPY above its call wall at 515, just barely. All right, again, we'll talk about setups in a few minutes. In just a minute. So let's take a look at gamma notional now. See how market makers were positioned on the gamma curve at the beginning of the day. So what this is showing is market makers' position on the gamma curve at the beginning of the day again for the S&P 500, NASDAQ, and Russell 2000. Note for SPX, gamma notional is positive. For SPY, it was negative at the beginning of the day and pretty much neutral for NASDAQ. So a positive gamma environment, what that means is traders are short calls, market makers are long calls, hence the positive gamma. And they have to trade against price to hedge their delta exposure. And then for SPY, gamma notional negative means that traders are long puts, market makers are short puts, hence the negative gamma environment, and they have to trade they have to trade with price to hedge their delta exposure. Now, of course, now both instruments are trading above their volatility triggers. SPY will most certainly shift to positive yesterday, and SPX will become more positive. And those numbers all did shift higher from yesterday, and again, I expect them to shift even higher tomorrow. All right, let's move on and take a look at some setups now. All right, so everything that we've looked at so far, other than Bookmap, is based on static data. Spotgamma takes gamma-weighted open interest. They take open interest data that's updated once a day, sometime during the night. They apply their algorithms to that data and come up with the levels that we were just taking a look at. Those levels shift every day. That's really a big part of my basis for a thesis. Now let's shift on to the execution real-time data. So the first thing I want to take a look at is options traders. What are options traders doing today? I'm going to start with the S&P 500. So this is the HIRO signal. HIRO stands for Hedging Impact Real-Time Options, HIRO. So what this chart is showing is options trades and market maker hedging activity for a combined signal of SPX, SPY, XSP, and ES futures, all into one combined signal. So a falling HIRO signal indicates traders are taking negative delta positions. That means they are buying puts and or selling calls. Market makers take the opposite side of that, and they sell futures to hedge their delta exposure. A rising HIRO signal indicates traders are taking positive delta positions, and that means they are buying calls and or selling puts. Market makers take the opposite side of that, and they have to buy futures, ES futures, to hedge their delta exposure. All right, let's zoom in on this chart. I'm going to take a look at the morning. So looking at the kind of the best entry point for a long in the morning. So first of all, note it's actually, I'm not going to turn on all extended hours, but there is a flow alert right here. It's almost hidden. For the S&P 500, I can turn on extended hours and see options trades for SPX and ES before the cash open, ES futures. So a flow alert, HIRO signal moves down, then moves up, makes a higher low. Here's your entry point for a long. So let's go take a look in Bookmap now. So options traders were taking positive delta positions. I'm going to adjust this chart a little bit so we can see what was happening at that time. I'm going to make the volume dots just a little bit larger. Here's the cash open at 9:30. Remember again, the S&P 500 had been trending higher since around the European Open. At the open, first of all, large traders started buying with iceberg orders. That's shown by the rising light blue line. There was a pullback just after 9:45. The volume dots are showing market buy minus sell. Magenta dots indicate more sellers than buyers. Green volume dots indicate more buyers than sellers. So ES makes a kind of a V bottom there. Remember, traders started taking positive delta positions around that time. Large traders were buying. They were buying this move down with iceberg orders, again shown by the light blue line, and then aggressive buyers start to come in. That's shown by cumulative volume delta and the green volume dots, and ES continues higher.
Order filled. Order cancelled.
That is a simulated trading account. Looks like I might have gotten stopped out. All right, so pull back to 513, upper daily expected move. Next entry point. And ES continues to grind higher. A lot of consolidation from around 10:30 to 11 to 1:30. Then the rally continues. All right, let's take a look at NASDAQ. Zoom in. All right, let's go back to Hero. And for Hero, I typically look at this signal right here, MAG 7. Let me show you what this is. This is another combined signal for the stocks known as the Magnificent Seven: Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, Tesla. These stocks make a very large component of the NASDAQ 100 and also the S&P 500. And again, this is a signal that I use when I'm trading NASDAQ. So let's zoom in on this. What I'm going to do is separate out puts and calls, and what I should have done, let's go back to the S&P 500. The reason I have to jump is there's this auto zoom problem if you shift from puts and calls to all trades. All right, so let's zoom in a bit. All right, so the blue line is showing puts. A rising blue line indicates traders are selling puts. A rising orange line indicates traders are buying calls. So note, right from the open, traders were selling puts, shown by the rising blue line. Call line up and down, right around 945, 947, shifts higher. Traders start buying calls and selling puts when both lines are moving in the same direction. That's a very powerful directional signal. All right, let's go take a look at NASDAQ now. So we know right around 947, 948, blue line, orange line moving the same direction. So when traders buy calls, for example, market makers sell the calls, and they have to buy stock to hedge their delta exposure. All right, so let me check for questions. All right, so sorry, VIK-SRA, not sure how to pronounce that. How can you have more buyers than sellers, or vice versa, if every order has someone on the opposite side? Wouldn't there be an equal amount of buyers and sellers? What I'm talking about is options market makers. So options market makers take the opposite side of customer trades. So when you buy calls in Tesla, for example, market makers take the opposite side of that. They sell calls, and they want to remain delta neutral. So when you sell calls, that is a negative delta position. They want to remain delta neutral. So they buy stock. They buy Tesla stock to hedge their delta exposure. All right, so that's what I'm talking about, options market makers. All right, so Mag 7, we know traders started buying calls, the Mag 7 stocks, right around 947. Let's go back to Bookmap. Again, volume dots, magenta dot, volume dots showing aggressive sellers. Green volume dots, aggressive buyers. Cumulative volume delta starts to rise. That's shown by the dark blue line. Also, buy stop orders help to fuel the move higher, shown by the rising yellow line. Pullback entries there to the upper daily expected move. Very bullish day here in NASDAQ. Multiple pullback entries. And NASDAQ continues to grind higher, well above the QQQ 444 call wall. All right, let's take a look at some stocks now. And what I want to do is kind of focus on an approach for trading stocks. Let's go back to the total signal, go to Amazon. I'm going to zoom out. All right, so there are a couple ways of approaching this. And the two ways that I'm going to focus on are, first of all, looking for these alerts. Now these alerts come in, you can select whether you want to see alerts for all instruments or just instruments on your watch list, which is shown here. So these are my instruments on the watch list. And then the second way is to rank by hero signal. Whoops. If you're looking for something to trade. So I've ranked this by hero signal from the strongest to the weakest. So what this is showing, the hero signal, the range in the slider is showing comparing the hero signal for today with the last 30 days. Colored portion showing the hero signal compared to the last 5 days. So this is showing for QQQ, for example, the hero signal is just about as strong as it has been in the last 30 days and the last 5 days. And for Apple, the hero signal also almost as strong as it has been in the last 30 days and stronger than it has been in the last 5 days. All right, so the main thing is to look for these alerts. That's the first point. So what I want to take a look at is Amazon, the flow alert that came in right around 9:45. Something to get your attention that indicates significant options activity. So let's go to, and these alerts will, it looks like they're not retained. So the list, these kind of roll off the list. I don't know how to control the number of alerts on the list. You used to be able to go to see all alerts, and now they are, they roll off pretty quickly. So, but the alerts do appear on the hero chart, and they remain there all day. So the flow alert for Amazon came in at right around 9:45. So let's go take a look at Amazon. So there's, it looks like there was actually a few minutes to watch Amazon take along right here around 174. Note again the Aggressive buyers coming in, shown by the green volume dots, and Amazon continues to grind higher. So good long entry right around 174, just a few minutes after the cash open. All right, the next is Google. So let's go take a look at Hero. Go to Google. Note there were a couple of alerts. Again, signaling significant options activity for Google. Rising purple line, traders are taking positive delta positions. Market makers take the opposite side and they have to buy stock to hedge their delta exposure. Let's go back to Bookmap. Google, another bullish day, bullish chart in Google here. Volume dots, aggressive sellers on the way down, aggressive buyers start to come in, price moves higher as traders are taking positive delta positions. All right, let's go back to Hero. All right, the next is Meta. All right, note Meta is trading above its call wall, 500 call wall, key gamma strike. Maybe hard to see, but this flow alert comes in just 5 or 10 minutes after the cash open. Traders take positive delta positions and price moves higher. Also with the call wall breach. Remember, when traders buy calls, market makers sell the calls. The call wall, key gamma strike at 500, that's where most of the calls are concentrated. So traders long calls, market makers short calls. As those calls, as price rises, those calls go deeper in the money, and their delta will become more negative, and market makers have to continue to buy stock to hedge their delta exposure. All right, so that's Meta. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. Yeah, I got stopped out. I'll talk more about that in just a minute. That is a trial account. That's not a real account. It just we'll get back to this in a minute. Again, it looked like Meta might join the rally after a decent pullback, but now it continues lower. So again, that's just a trial account. All right, so here's the rally in the morning for Meta. 500 call wall. Price trades above that. Those calls go deeper in the money. Market makers negative or short calls go deeper in the money. They have to continue to buy stock as traders take positive delta positions, and those calls again go deeper in the money. All right, the next is Microsoft. Another bullish day in Microsoft. Let's take a look and see what options traders were doing. Again, sticking with the alert theme. Flow alerts, again, signaling significant options activity. Traders taking positive delta positions. 402.50 is the hedge wall. And note price is trading up to the 410 key gamma strike. Looks like it's trading just below that. All right, let's go take a look at Bookmap. Remember, 402.50 is the hedge wall. Acted as support. Traders start taking positive delta positions. Aggressive buyers come in, shown by the green volume dots. And Microsoft moves higher. 410 key gamma strike. All right, the next I'm going to move on to NVIDIA. Oh, looks like I need to add more lines to NVIDIA as well. I think I already shifted those this morning. Yeah, I did. Not high enough. All right, let's go take a look at Hero. And by the way, 900 here was an ideal entry point. All right, let's go take a look at Hero. Go to NVIDIA. Multiple flow alerts. 900 is the call wall, key gamma strike. Let's shift to puts and calls. So traders are selling puts and buying calls. Call buyers really driving price. As traders buy calls, market makers sell the calls. And they have to buy stock to hedge their delta exposure. One thing I point out most every day is the similarity between the Hero signal for NVIDIA and the Mag 7. NVIDIA pretty much a key driver for those stocks. So multiple flow alerts, traders take positive delta positions. Those calls at the call wall go deeper in the money. Market makers have to continue to buy stock to hedge their delta exposure. All right, there's an alert for AMD. Let's take a look at that. I'm going to shift back to total. Flip over to Snow, back to AMD. And let's see if this is actionable. Back to Bookmap, go to AMD. Zoom in a bit. Tone down these volume dots. All right, so that alert came in a little bit late. Caesar asked, is there voice alerts for Spotgamma? So the alerts that I'm talking about, let's go take a look. There are alerts. So this is alerts for, you can, this doesn't seem to work right, but you can play sound on new alert for your watch list. Here I have that's my main watch list, or all other symbols. So I have all other symbols turned off and all the alerts turned on for my watch list, but it seems to play alerts for all instruments. One thing that you can do is, oh, now it is turned on. So I do have alerts turned on right now. So it should be sounding alerts. So again, the alert's showing significant options activity. So it's that dinging sound. All right, Bruce had asked me to talk about trading in Bookmap. So I'm going to do that. And I've shown several examples of trades for the past week or so in futures. I've shown how to use futures, so I'm going to talk about stock today. So first of all, for trading in Bookmap, Bookmap is a trading platform, and you can trade stocks, futures, or crypto in Bookmap. And I trade stocks and futures. And so you have to trade stocks and futures. You have to have Bookmap Global Plus. So there are two versions of Bookmap for stocks and futures. There's Global and Global Plus. So you have to have Global Plus. You also need a data subscription. Here I'm using Rhythmic data for futures, DXFeed data for stocks. I use the DXFeed bundle. Then you need a connection to a brokerage account. All right, so here are my connections. And for futures, I do have a live account. I'm connected to my demo account now. And I'm trying this with Interactive Brokers. I set up a trial account today. I have never used Interactive Brokers before, so the trading platform is a mystery to me. But I can trade that in Bookmap here. So let me show you how to do that. All right, so the nice thing about trading in Bookmap is you can configure the trading control panel kind of in a custom way for each individual instrument. So for example, what I've done is I have selected AMD. I'm not sure what this other one is. So I selected AMD, click Start. So this is the trading control panel. I have the data feed. I've subscribed to AMD. And then I have the brokerage account. I've selected AMD at IB. Then I've selected my size. Then in the brackets, I have a stop loss set at 50 ticks. And for a stock, that's half a point, half a dollar. And take profit at 100 or 1 point. Now note for NVIDIA here, NVIDIA is a much more volatile stock, much higher price, and I'm going to set my trading control panel a lot different. So I've, just for an example, set my size to half at 50 and stop loss at 2 points, take profit at 4 points. So here you can customize the trading control panel for each instrument. So this is just an example of how to do that. All right, let's go back and take a look at the hero signal for AMD. Now moving lower. So this flow alert could have been a mean reversion signal. Let's go take a look at, so CVD starting to roll over. There are some aggressive sellers coming in. All right, so what I'm going to do on my other screen, normally when I'm trading, I look at, all right, Paul asked, what does the hero signal do? So I've been talking about that for quite a while. It shows options trades and market maker hedging activity. All right, so I'm going to take a look at the hero signal on one computer, on the computer that I'm looking at for YouTube, so I won't be able to see questions and comments. I'm going to take a long here. So I double click, and looks like I just missed that by moving around. WRB asks, can Hero show more than a day for contacts in real time? Yes. Hero can show up to 5 days worth of data. So it will show the previous 5 days. All right, so it looks like I missed a long there. So that was so far not a mean reversion signal. All right, so I'm going to cancel that.
Order cancelled.
All right, so again, remember, I cannot see your questions right now in YouTube. So I'm going to quickly scan to see if there's anything that looks good. Maybe Microsoft. All right, Microsoft 410 key gamma strike. Looks like the hero signal is ticking up. There are some aggressive sellers coming in. Let me set up my trade control panel. So normally this is something that I would do. I just set this up during launch. This is normally something that I would do at the beginning of the day before I start trading. And let's pick a size. And that's my default bracket there. All right, so I'm going to double click. Zoom in a bit. All
Order filled.
right, so this is just an example of how to use these tools. Not meant as a real trade, not a trade recommendation. This is just an example of how to use the trading control panel and Bookmap for a trade. So looking for potential flag entry for Microsoft. I only have a few minutes, so I wanted to get something on. I would have normally waited for some aggressive buyers to come in, look for some green volume dots. All right, let's go take a look at Hero. Go to Microsoft. Hero continues to trend higher. Let's go back to AMD. All right, this is really difficult to do. So normally when I'm trading, I'm watching 3 screens to trade. I'm watching Bookmap and Hero and also my trading platform on 3 different screens. So on 2 of those screens now I have YouTube on one of those screens and Discord on the other screen. All right, so it looks like this is Not a good trade here. Let's go back to AMD. All right, so again, this is just to illustrate the trading features here in Bookmap. Not meant to be a trading recommendation. Zoom in on NVIDIA. Let's see what's happening with NVIDIA. So traders continue to take positive delta positions. All right, now the hero signal for Microsoft is continuing to trend higher. AMD sideways. That was the last alert. Go back to Microsoft. Zoom in. Let's check Tesla. Hero ticking up, flow alert right around 130. All right, so it looked like we missed a long for Tesla. All right, so again, folks, this is just to demonstrate the trading features in the trade control panel. Trading for real takes a lot of patience to wait for the right setup. Let's take a look at Hero for Amazon. Actually, let me take a look at one other thing. So it looks like I'm looking at a chart with multiple, kind of an 2x8, 2x4 chart showing all the instruments I normally trade. Looking down at that on another screen. Check on Microsoft. Let's check Hero for Tesla. Making a lower high.
Order filled.
All right, my time is up. We'll have to see how this turns out. So just to show how you can manipulate this, I'm going to drag this so I can take profit, maybe about $1. All right, so that may be a lot of movement for Tesla. And then I'm going to drag my stop down so it's just above the 180 level. All right, so everyone, my time is up. I've got several simulated trades in a trial account, and I'll keep an eye on these. Everyone, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for your questions and comments. Again, remember these trades are just to illustrate the trading features here in Bookmap. All right, everyone, have a great afternoon, and I will see you tomorrow. Remember, jobs report comes out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. All right, see you tomorrow. Thanks again. Bye.